Welcome to Age Potential TV. I'm Laurie Campbell, your host, gerontologist, and advocate of your best life, here to introduce you to an emerging trend called Age Potential. Here's to living out your age potential. Coming home to an empty house is not easy. There's no one to greet you, and the chair opposite yours at the dinner table is empty. The house seems to echo from the silence, and you shed a tear as the reality that you are now alone sets in. Losing a loved one changes every aspect of your life, especially when the loved one was also your best friend. You feel lost and overwhelmed, making even minor decisions. But something inside of you, something inside tells you you can survive and even thrive. That something inside of you is a resilient spirit. Resilience is the ability to incur adversity in such a way that one comes through it often better for the experience. Resilience means facing life's difficulties with courage and hope, refusing to give up. Laurie Robinson, a profile thriver in my book, Awaken Your Age Potential, is here to share her amazing resilience story. Welcome, Laurie.
Thank you, Laurie. It's good to be here.
Yes. If anyone knows pain and loneliness, it's you. You lost 11 family members within a very short time. And up and beyond that, you lost the love of your life, your husband, Neil. Take us back to that time.
Okay. Well, I think, Laurie, all of us expect that death is going to happen in families as well as life. There's that yin and yang. And you normally think of your parents, grandparents, and elderly leaving you. And for our family, it was the opposite. It started with young. Our first one being a nephew that was 20 years old. It was a niece that was 33 years old. It was my youngest brother who was in a car accident, and not only himself, but the passenger was a 33-year-old friend, both of them leaving a wife and 3 children. Then came my older brother, was my niece, my niece's 5-year-old daughter, who went next door in a neighbor's home, and they were playing, and she found a gun, and her life was ended. And so there was just a series, and there wasn't time to recover, Laurie, but nothing prepared me for the departure of my dearest friend, as you mentioned, my husband, Neil. We were having a wonderful time in the Galapagos Islands. We did a lot of travel together, and he was a beautiful man inside and out. Very, very calm and humble, and just a wonderful man. And we were enjoying time with one another, climbing mountains, and certainly first ones up in the morning and the last ones to go to bed at night with a group of people that we knew and loved. And we had come back from our trip, and we're sitting around at home talking about our life together and how many folks that we had just lost within a very short period of time. And Neil said to me, you know, honey, if you and I were to leave one another right now, I want you to know that we've had a beautiful life together. I'm so thankful for the time that we've had. And as long as we're talking about this, if I could choose a way to die, I would choose to go quickly in with a basketball in my hands. We laughed about that, and I kidded, I'm the one that has the heart history in my family. You have been a runner and somebody who's played basketball, been very athletic. I will go before you. 3 weeks later, I was coming back from a training in Denver, and Neil and I were sitting down having a bite to eat, and he cupped his hand and said, I love you. And he went off to play basketball. And I got a hellacious call 2 hours later that Neil had died on the basketball court. Excuse me, at that time I didn't know he had died. I was told that he had a heart attack, and so in going to the hospital I did not know that he was dead at that time. But it was something, Laurie, that just completely flipped my life upside down. It was so unexpected, and I've always known the power of God and been a strong believer all my life in faith. I knew he would take me through it, but I was trying to rush the process. And it didn't work out so well. I was fatigued, I was unhappy, I was really missing my husband. But I'm in a different place now.
Yes, and we're going to get to that.
Yeah,
That's wonderful. So many people, in my observation, when they lose their loved one, their spouse, they really they struggle to keep that will to live. I mean, live abundantly. Laurie, how have you kept your purpose, your meaning, your zest for life?
By trade, Laurie, I'm an educator, and I really love children. I love working with people who give life to children, and so right now I'm training teachers, actually. And what I've done is I've found a reason to keep on. They have, in fact, when I was first supposed to go out and do some training after Neil's death, I didn't know if I wanted to be in front of an audience again. And what I've found is that I had to fake it till I made it. You know, you fake it till you make it. And I went out and got back into doing things that I was passionate about. I had forgotten myself for a while. And what I know now is that God has me here for a reason. And each one of us have our own talents that grow out of passions. We were given some talents to use. And so I'm finding a great enjoyment in being in schools and training others. So I think we have to find a passion that we were given. And that's when we find what is called flow. You know, you're in your flow when your skill set matches the job. And I'm in my flow when I'm in schools training teachers.
That's beautiful, Laurie.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Research really shows that resilient people have this set of assumptions that are very different than non-resilient people. What set of beliefs do you have that helps you be more resilient, do you think?
Several years ago, Laurie, I read a book called Mindset. Carol Dweck is the author. And she talks about fixed and growth mindsets. People who have a fixed mindset, this is my circumstances, this is who I am, I will never be any different. And there are those people who have growth mindsets that, okay, I'm in this situation now, but I can grow beyond it. And I have really envisioned myself as being a happy person rather than through circumstances. Just because of the things that come your way, it doesn't mean that you can't have a happy and full life. And so I'm operating out of a growth mindset. I believe that there's a reason why we are still here. And I want to share that. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it in a nutshell. I believe that there's a lot of life yet to be lived.
So let's talk about how the viewers can nurture resilience in their own life. If we would be putting together a resilience toolkit, what skills or skill set do you deem important to include?
I think reading, meditating, visioning health, seeing yourself surrounded with people who are life givers rather than life strippers. I recall really well-meaning people who were widows that would come to the house really wanting to be helpful alongside me. But oftentimes they'd say, Laurie, your life will never be the same. And it isn't, Laurie, it isn't the same, but it still can be good. And I started to believe that, in fact, I was limiting myself, and I had to put a boundary with some of those people saying, I just can't walk this walk with you right now. I need to heal and have time for solitude. And I believe that there's a reason why Jesus went to the desert. Having that time to just be in solitude. I do also find that I'm energized by people. And so to have a hybrid of being in the presence of people who are positive, but I also need that time of solitude. And so I think that's important as well.
In my book, you stated, what I now know is there is gain and loss. Laurie, how can there be gain and loss, and how has that helped you live your age potential out?
I think there's an elusiveness, Laurie, about happiness, that we've got to pursue it and chase it. And I'm thinking of, in my experience with education, that if you watch a little person trying to run after a butterfly with a big net, they never can catch one. But when they quiet themselves, the butterfly comes to sit on the shoulder. And I have found that trying to get up and grab at something when I'm not ready yet, I think our body goes through a process of grieving, whether it's to lose a job or to have conflict in a family or whatever it is. My resilience has come with knowing that I can't chase it, that I need to be happy in the moment right now. And I've also found that there's a huge difference between loneliness and being lonely. For me, lonely is when I look at my self-circumstances and I'm thinking about me. And with lonesome, all of us can be lonesome. It's okay, but it's what we do with that. I've found gain in knowing that God is not about breaking my heart, but really rather having me dig deep into myself, inside my soul, and finding things that bring pleasure and passion. He's breaking through to my heart. And I'm very thankful to be having a family who loves me, and I love them so very much. I seek intentionally people and events that bring joy. And so I've found a tremendous amount of excitement in my life again, Laurie.
That's wonderful, so inspiring. Your journey to really come to know that there is gain in loss really reminds me, what I hear is there's a lot of choice. You're choosing to walk this road. It really reminds me of the age potential mindset that I promote. I can, I will, I choose to create and live an extraordinary aging experience. We have to choose life. We have to choose to age well. You know that. And Laurie, I've known you a long time. You've always been a person who has chosen to live and live abundantly. But what is so remarkable is that you are choosing to continue to live abundantly through the pain, through the loss, through the lonesomeness, and rise above it. You're such an inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, because we now know by you sharing your story that there is hope after losing a death of a loved one.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here, Laurie.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Do you know someone who needs to hear this message of hope and resiliency? I challenge you to put forth an effort to pay it forward and email or repost this TV segment for all the people you know and love. They will thank you for it. Until next time, be well.